Hi everyone, welcome back to this week weekly market update. So we will, as usual, we will see what happened over the last weekend and also what's coming up for this coming week and things to watch out for and what we will actually review what we have spoke last week as well, just a recap as well. So just remember, if you have not followed me, please remember to follow my Facebook, uh, like my YouTube, and also follow my Telegram if you want to have receive more update as well. So sometimes on and off the video might not come weekly. It's because I'm busy at the moment with my new house, and also right now, uh, based on the market itself, is quite you can't really say it's volatile because it has been quite quiet over the past few weeks. Only like since last week, then there's more volatility, especially on the Monday market sell-off. Follow my market recovered, and right now you can see based on the news that based on last Friday, right, Dow has jumped more than 200 points, and it's the first time that it closed above 35,000. So it's actually a great news for the market itself. So I will look into the chart later. So I have some um, when I actually plotted my chart on the S&P 500, I says at some point to watch out for, and it's just nice that it touches the lowest point and bounce back. So we look into the chart. So for this coming week, right? This coming week for last week itself, not just only that, a lot of things happen, especially on the China side. If you have been investing in the China stock market, right, you should know that China's you know the regulations has been hitting on the technology sector. All right, has been hitting on the technology sector, trying to crack down different technology sector itself. So not just only that, I think the biggest pain is actually on DD, this so-called the Chinese Uber, the latest IPO listed. And once it's listed, right, it has been going all the way down because of this crackdown from China. And not only that, China is actually threatening, or not really threatening, it's going to fine DD, so-called the fee will be way higher than how much they fine on Alibaba as well. So can you see that? So it has just stated here, Chinese regulations are planning to punish DD, including a fine that could be exceed the record of 2.8 billions that they define on Alibaba. So that's why the shares has been plunging down. I think they IPO on $14, and right now the price is around $8 plus, right? 802. So it's very, very bad for these Chinese regulations that step in. So people who are believe that China market is big, when you want to go into China market, I be emphasized on that. I'm like of China's tech stock as well, but because of this regulation come in, it's actually pretty painful for investor itself as well. So just take note, if you want to go into US, China company listed in US, right? Just be aware that the the regulation might came in harsh on you. Especially last week, the most surprisingly news is actually they tap on the educations, the private educations. All right, so these two company, TAL Education and New Oriental Education, has actually dropped very painfully if you look at the shares price on the chart itself as well. So they are going to ban them from raising money, ban them for there's a new policy on them. So we'll look into the chart later as well. So for coming last week as well, there's a lot of earnings report, like Netflix, all this. But for this coming week, is more a lot of people actually concerned is because that we know that the virus has been spiking up, like the Delta variants, like the COVID case has been spiking up again. Even for Singapore has actually go back to phase two. But when things spike up, right, it's just like the initial phase, right? What happened to the market is that the technology sector actually went good, right? Went all the way burst up. And this coming week, right, you should be aware that if you are on the technology sector, there's a lot of tech earnings, big tech earnings report for this coming week, such as Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, all this and that. So be aware and be careful. Lighten your portfolio if you are, or you hedge your portfolio if you are scared on the earnings. But it seems like they are actually providing some good earnings heads up. So forecast, so it should be good because most of the shares, right, actually went up last week already. So you're not sure what will happen, sell on news, this kind of thing. Buy on news, buy on rumors, sell on news, right? So you never know what will happen. People might be profit taking when the news earnings reports release. So just be aware. And for the coming week as well, for the economy side, right, just be careful because right now market is at all-time high, break 35,000 for Dow Jones. So a lot of people is eyeing on the Fed interest rate decisions because they say that there is inflation, all these with goods earnings, good economy data, right? It actually increase the chances that how much will the Fed actually taper on the bonds? Firstly, how much will they increase the interest rate? So this is actually bad for the market itself. So people are focusing on this big news itself on next week for the economy data. So there you go. This is at CNBC website. You can actually read is the earnings and the Fed Reserve are the big catalyst and stock enter weeks ahead. So these are the things to watch out for. Heavy shares earnings reports. All right, and they are actually eyeing on the bond market. I will share on the bond 10 years treasury use later on the charting itself. It's pretty interesting on the chart. So without further ado, let's go into the chart itself. Okay. Not only that, this is one of them. I'm actually looking as well. This is one of the stock counter. I will be looking one of the industry sector is a cruise line as well. I've been mentioning on cruise line like Carnival. So we'll recap on it again for today. So for S&P 500, this is what happened. Last week, can you see 18th July last week, I say that it is actually forming a bearish divergence in the time frame. So with the Delta variant case spike, we might see the rate coming week. So basically it's last week, right? Actually, and it happens on the Monday itself. It went all the way to 4,250. Can you see that? All right, so this is Monday, 18, right? I share on this candle. I say your touches here. This is a very strong ascending support, ascending uptrend support. So it's been touches the 4250 and then it bounced back all the way and way higher. So if you're reading on candlestick itself, right, this is actually a so-called engulfing, right? It's a weekly engulfing. It engulfed the previous week. So you can see if I change to a weekly chart, can you see that it's engulfed the previous candle? So this is a very strong bullish signal on the S&P 500. And where will it go? Of course, there's the top. There's no ceiling, right? I mean, the sky is sky high, right? There's no ceiling up there. So how do we plot this kind of chart? Right? Usually, I will just base on the channel. So this is the ascending uptrend, right? So I'll just plot the channel, and then this is the upper channel, the middle channel, and then the bottom channel. So right now, things has been trading since the bottom channel since like November 2020, and right now, we are heading up to the upper middle channel again. So not to be surprised if let's say the earnings really coming up very good. I mean, if let's say they are not going to they are going to tip I mean they are going to taper the bonds, but how much will they taper and when will they taper? This has been covering in my previous weekly report as well. So it's just a matter of times when will they step in and when will they increase the interest rate. So if things is not doing very hawkish at the Fed side, right, it might actually have more strength for it to burst even higher. So we are target 4,006 initially as a whole figure, and we'll see where it will goes to. So let's plot 4,006 and then we'll recap it again next week. All right, so here we go. So we shall see. All right, once it break up, we hit here. All right, of course, this is the daily candle. We can zoom into the hourly chart, and then you wait for some pullback before you want to do more time entry long position. All right, because it actually closed above is a good sign, but you never know what happens if it, let's say it closed out. This might be a false breakout, right? If let's say it's a false breakout, where will be your cutoff? All right, 4,002 might be the first stop loss level if you are going to long. All right, so this is on how we look at the S&P 500. All right, so let's move on to before we move on to the next chart, I just want to show you guys on the 10 years use treasury. All right, US government bond 10 years use treasury. uh, this is what I have charted previously. I have not delayed anything. So when 17 April, let's read 17 April, we are waiting for more pullback around 1.4. Apparently it hit 1.4 and go way below. But the interesting things which I mentioned, right, is because I draw based on the Fibonacci. I found a very interesting point is that it actually is being supported by the 50% Fibonacci level. 50% Fibonacci level. All right, so you see the market has been dropping. I mean, let's reset the chart. All right, so based on the weekly, all right, we can see that 10 years treasury yields has dropped to the bottom, right? Then we just draw a Fibonacci to 100%. We are waiting for the retracement. That's why it's called Fibonacci retracement, right? So apparently it retraced back and touches the 50%. Can you see this line is actually a 50%? So it touches the 50% and then it bounces back. So this is at a very, very strong support here. That's why I say it's kind of a very interesting point. Apparently for Fibonacci retracement, there's 3 points that you need to watch out. It's actually a 50% is the midpoint, 61.8 or 32.2, right? 38.2. So right now, I thought that you will actually retrace more deep, but this will depend on this coming week, what will the Fed actually announce. So unless you know where to put your stop loss, you are more risk reverse, right? Then somewhere below 50% should be your stop loss if you want to long at this point of time. Any break below 50% will be the next Fibonacci retracement level. All right, so this is a very interesting point. That's why I said 1.2 touches, around 1.15 touches, and then it bounce up. So this is a weekly chart. Let's look at the day chart. And you can see it bounce up and then it bounce above the 200-day moving average. Slightly close below, slightly close below. It's like a doji there. All right, I think this coming week will be a ding dong ding here, ranging just until the Fed actually announced. I think it's on the Thursday, if I'm not wrong. All right, Singapore time is on the Thursday. All right, so that's all for the bond side. Let's go into the individual counter, which I mentioned. So S&P 500. Then next point we will be looking into. Give me a second. All right, so next one I have mentioned last week is actually Las Vegas, right? Las Vegas. All right, so what happens to the Las Vegas? All right, so I mentioned due to the virus reports, right? I mean, the COVID, right? You see, 18 July, I said break below the symmetrical triangle, eyeing at around 40.38, eyeing to 40 around 38, 35. So last week there's some decent bounce back. So we count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, open lower, close up, and then right now it's straight lower on the weekly itself. All right, lower on the weekly, and the earnings report is not doing good. Can you see that? That's why once it break down, it will continue to follow trend and go all the way break. So we'll continue to monitor and we'll continue to hold on if you are shorting. Congrats to you. Let's hold on and see where we hit to. So 40.38 is my first profit target. All right, so this is for Las Vegas. Let's continue the next counter. All right, Delta Airline. Yes, I know that a lot of people, someone comment like in my trading view, asking why is that so low where the economy is trying to pick up. Yes, fear factor came into play, profit target, profit taking came into play. So you never know. I mean, right now the market is like before I charge this, I say that it's like based on technical analysis, it's like at the support level, right? So once it hit the support levels purely on technical analysis, yes, it's bounced back. So once it close below, just like the Las Vegas, once it break below, it will continue to go down. Correct or not? So, but the thing is that not only that, with the case spiking case, right, and with the height of the oil, right, it's actually bringing both negative to airline travel sector itself. Yes, market is going to come back definitely, but doesn't mean that is a good entry point for you to enter. 35, if you have not entered 35, might be a better entry point. You never know. All right, market don't move one direction. So I'm waiting for 35 people who have not on board on any airline sector. Then you might want to be more patient, wait for it to bounce back, and then you catch at a low point. If I miss the boat, I miss the boat. All right, so this is what my mentality come into play. Okay, so here is a very crucial point. We'll see will this continue be a very crucial support. Otherwise, when it break below 35 will be my next level target. All right, so this is for Delta Airline, and then the next shares which I mentioned is actually Pfizer, and I think their earnings report is coming up this week. So let's see earnings report for Pfizer. If I'm not wrong, I think it's on Wednesday. Yes, so it's on Wednesday. So we'll see where Pfizer will perform. All right. So what happened last week? I said it will break out, right? Because it's like forming a double bottom, even though it's at a high side, but it's going to break up. So and it broke, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It broke up, and right now it's actually at 41. So I think I didn't write any remark here, but if you want, you can view my last week video. It's still in the YouTube, and last week is actually closing a very high bullish candle. It's like a Morobuzu, they say, high bullish candle. All right, so of course this level 43, once it break, let's make some point here. All right, once it break this 43, then we should aim even higher. Okay, so this is Pfizer. Not to forget Pfizer, the COVID vaccine. Have you taken one of them as well? So you might aim all the way all-time high 47. I don't think there's isn't any issue for Pfizer unless there's bad news coming on the vaccine itself. So this is on Pfizer. All right, next thing. I'm going to share with you guys on this new counter, not new counter, basically it's an old counter I mentioned before, but right now we are looking back into it. It's QCOM. Yes, there is chip delay, chip issue, especially for the Intel. If let's say you look at the Intel, the stock is not doing good. But for QCOM, right, Qualcomm, I think it's kind of interesting of the chart itself. All the way above the all the moving average. Right now, it seems like it's like a Pfizer. All right, it's going to break. Once it's break this price 145, we will see the next. We might even see that you actually cover back the gap once again. All right, 160 that we are looking at. So I will share this photo in my Facebook page as well. So we shall see where it goes. So let's put some notes here. All right, once it break out, there we go. All right, so this is on uh, Qualcomm's. And then let's see on, all right, for CCL. CCL is interesting. All right, so this is what I dropped previously. Market recover is going up. It really went to $30. Reopen, not surprised if you visit 2280 support, but I think this actually yeah. So I write 100-day moving average around 30. So March I started lah. So right now market hit 30, came back. So why I say it's interesting, because since the market plunged right all the way to the bottom base, we are right now touches on the 50% Fibonacci. Just for the smaller time frame of the Fibonacci is the 50%. For the bigger time frame, right, it actually touches the 23.6%. So these two line is at a very crucial support. All right, and with cruise line, just now I mentioned here, right, the courts actually lift cruise CDC cruise ships restrictions. That means they are allowed to cruise, and CCL start to pick up. And right now for fundamental side for CCL, just a heads up, I think their debt is way more than their reserve cash at the moment, but they actually just announced to raise a senior bonds, just to pay off their debts in that one they're going to expire. I think in 2 years or 1 years down the road. So for debt, the temporary debts, right, is actually be settled, but will CCLs sufficient enough to pay their 5 years debt in future? This will depend on how the COVID cases work on. So this is on the CCL itself. All right, so that's all for this coming week. Hope you guys enjoy. And then put into your watch list if you want. Then remember to follow and like my Facebook page as well. That's all. Thank you, you guys. See you guys next week. Bye bye.